What's happening, all you minties? Uncanny Omar here from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And today I get to announce 4 Marvel Omnibus reprints coming in the summer and fall of 2023. So let's get started. This video is sponsored by Marvel Comics, so thank you so much to David Gabriel and the fine folks at Marvel for sending us advance notice of these books that are coming back to print in the summer and fall of 2023. So these make me really happy, and I hope a lot of you are happy with these new printings of these books. So, before going any further though, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe, ring that bell for notifications, share the video, let others know where you get your breaking news in the Marvel Collected Editions world. And thank you to all you wonderful folks that have been sharing the videos from Near Mint Condition. That means the world to us. Stay away from the comments, just in case you want to be surprised, then by all means afterwards, go at it. Have at the comments. Let us know what you think of the covers, the content, the reprints in this case. Alright, so let's not waste any more time, because we're talking about 4 reprints. They're all related, and once I announce the first one, you're probably going to see where I'm going to go with these. These make me really happy because each one of these has only had one printing, and a lot of these have been out of print for years. And it's interesting because people were asking me, Omar, has Marvel just forgotten about these set of characters? Because it seems like we've been focusing on X-Men, it seems like we've been focusing on Spider-Man, and we have. We've been getting a lot of love for the X titles and Spider-Man titles, living good. But what about the Avengers? Have they forgotten about the Silver Age and the Avengers? Well, this should answer your question, because the first book I'm going to be talking about is Avengers Omnibus Volume 1, coming back to print next year. So let's look at the Standard Edition cover first, and then the Direct Market cover. So here we have the Standard Edition cover supplied by John Romita Jr., and of course, after Jack Kirby's phenomenal cover to issue number 1. And speaking of issue number 1, let's talk about the content. So the content is issues 1 through 30 of the series that started in 1963. So this is the classic Silver Age Avengers, when Thor, Iron Man, Hulk, Wasp, and Ant-Man came together to defeat Loki. Let's take a look at the Direct Market cover. This Direct Market cover supplied by the legendary Jack Kirby. And of course, can't forget Don Heck and Dick Ayers there. But here we have the very first 30 issues of Avengers, reprinted again in omnibus format for the people that have been asking about this. It is finally coming back to print. You have the classic Stan Lee and Jack Kirby era of Avengers. And you have illustrations in here from Don Heck and Jack Kirby, of course. But yes, this is a must for anybody that has been wanting to read this stories from the very beginning. This is where it all began, where our mightiest heroes joined forces and became the Avengers. You have the return of Captain America in these particular stories, and you have classic enemies, not just Loki, who I know premiered in Thor, or Journey to Mystery rather, but you have Kang the Conqueror, my favorite Avengers villain. He shows up in this particular era. And then you have the ever-changing, or I guess rotating cast of Avengers. Some leave, some join. Oh man, it was a fun time for sure for the Silver Age. And speaking of Silver Age, let's move on to the next book, because Avengers Omnibus Volume 2 is being reprinted. That's right. So let's take a look at the Standard Edition cover. This Standard Edition cover is supplied by Alex Ross. That cover is so freaking awesome. I love that cover. I know there are people that are either, no, I like the original classics artwork, or I like the modern stuff. But you have some killer artwork there by Alex Ross on the cover. Now let's talk about what this collects down here. We're going to put the content. This collects Avengers 31 through 58, Annuals 1 and 2, X-Men 45, and then material from Brand Ech 5 and 8. So before we talk about some of the stories in here, some of the characters rather, let's check out the Direct Market cover. So the Direct Market cover here is drawn by Big John Buscema. And this is an era where he was actually drawing a lot of these issues. By now, Jack Kirby had stepped away from the book that he helped co-create. Stan Lee was still writing some of the stories, but then you had Gary Friedrich come in. Roy Thomas came in and started writing a lot, and Roy Thomas stuck around for a long time. You have the fight with the X-Men. Black Panther ends up joining the team, but you have the first appearance of the Vision. You have the first appearance of Ultron. Black Widow and the Guardian make an appearance in here. You have the big fight between Hercules and the Submariner. Dragon Man makes an appearance in here. But this is also where you learn about Bucky. What happened to Bucky, too. I remember that being a very important issue. So, moving on to the next book. What else could I be talking about? Avengers Omnibus Volume 3 is coming back to print. Now, let's take a look at the standard edition cover first. So this cover is supplied by Alan Davis and shows the classic team during this particular era of Avengers. Now let's take a look at the content, because this collects issues 59 through 88 of Avengers. It also has Incredible Hulk 140 in there and Marvel Superheroes number 17. And before we talk about the creators in here and some of the characters that show up in here, let's take a look at the direct market cover. So this direct market cover, again supplied by Big John Buscema, and this is the era where he was drawing the Avengers, but he's not alone, because he was joined by Sal Buscema, our pal Sal. He was joined by Gene Colan and Barry Windsor-Smith drawing these classic issues. Of course, Roy Thomas writing most of these, well, actually all of them, with the exception of Harlan Ellison's name in there. But this is such an interesting era. This is when they start shifting the focus to the lesser known characters. For example, like Hawkeye becomes Giant Man, or no, he's Goliath in this. And then you have the return of Ultron, the return of Kang the Conqueror, the Grandmaster. This introduces us to the Squadron Supreme, or the Squadron Sinister rather, for the first time. And you also have the return of Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch during this era. Archon arrives. And, there's an awesome origin story for a particular character that has gotten a lot of love in omnibus format lately, and that is, of course, Black Panther. So his origin gets told in this in a more detailed way. But, yeah, and I didn't even mention the wedding in here. There is a wedding for a couple of Avengers. Now, by process of elimination, what could the next reprint be? Why, no other than Avengers Omnibus Volume 4. So let's take a look at the standard edition cover first. And that standard edition cover is supplied by Arthur Adams. And before we talk about the direct market cover, let's see what the contents are here. This collects Avengers 89 through 119, Daredevil 99, Defenders 8 through 11. So, of course, we're getting the Avengers Defenders War in here. And let's take a look at the direct market cover. So this direct market cover is supplied by Neal Adams. And Neal Adams is, of course, one of the artists that draws the big classic event here, the Kree-Skrull War, that to this day still sends shockwaves to the Marvel Universe. Every crossover just about brings that particular story arc up. But Roy Thomas leaves the book during this time, and Steve Englehart takes over the book. You have artwork in here from not just Neal Adams, but also Sal Buscema. And yes, it is the Kree-Skrull War. It's the Avengers Defenders War. But also you have the first appearance of Mantis during this era. You have the fight against Ares and the Enchantress. You have the return of some other obscure Avenger characters. And Vision and Scarlet Witch. This is where a lot of that starts happening. But those are your covers, and that's what's being reprinted. If you've noticed, the content is identical to what the content was before. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of these reprints, if this is what a lot of you have been asking me about these Silver Age Avengers stories, and what the possibility of a Volume 5 could be of Avengers. We already have the stage set, right? We have the reprints of 1 through 4. Could an Avengers 5 be around the corner? One way to find out. Stay tuned. So, everyone, stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.